Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 497 for the week of Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Singer.
Kevin.
Toby.
Damn it.
And Charlie.
At least all the names got out. That's fine. That's
Damn
fine.
it.
I appreciate Kevin's little
Not paying
dodge
attention.
there. Yeah. So, we have a lot to talk about this week. There could be lots of
compared to last week where we didn't really have anything to talk about.
We got lots of yelling, lots of screaming. But I have a story to tell. Okay, I have a story to tell. Now, your good friend Ryan here is a comic book genius when it comes to retelling, right? As I've been told many times, and I make no mistakes, and everything I do is the exact right thing that I should be doing, right? This is just common acceptance, correct? I think that's what everyone.
Sure.
I'm hearing
toot your own horn, man. Toot your
just
own
all
horn.
thumbs up and nodding. So yes,
I think the nodding is in the direction you don't want it to be.
So I've been doing this retail thing for a little while. Right? I make mistakes occasionally. I believe I have made the biggest blunder I have ever made in retailing history this week.
I told you.
And so here's a little story for you guys. Now we're all a bunch of olds, so we don't care about all the cool things that hip kids are into, like video games called Fortnite. Okay. So a couple months ago, DC Comics announced a Fortnite crossover with Batman. They were going to have. Now, this isn't just like, a Fortnite character is going to be in a Batman comic at the end. No, this is a full-on Batman goes into the Fortnite universe, 6-issue miniseries, variant covers. The story in the comic will affect the game. And not only that, now Marvel did this, right? Marvel did this with Thor. But it was just like this one little story and that's it, right? And then they had the whole thing in Fortnite.
And they've had Thanos in there as a huge thing and stuff like that. Yeah.
But the way it affected the comic books was basically it was like one little story and that was it.
Yeah.
The thing that DC did here is put in Fortnite items, which are extraordinarily popular. Now, I mean, think about Fortnite. I think when I was looking it up, its value is something like $16 billion for this one game, Epic, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. So millions and millions and millions of players. One of the items you could get at launch was a skin for Harley Quinn. So you could play as Harley Quinn inside the game, right? I mean, your character can look like whatever your skin you get. You can buy the stuff, you can win them, you can get them in drops, blah, blah, blah. Now, the comic books, these were not exclusive. They would eventually be available later in the game that you could buy. But the Harley Quinn skin was available for 2 months only if you bought the comic book. It'll be in June where you can actually get it within the game itself. But for now, you had to buy the comic book to get the skin. Now, if you bought all 6 issues, and this is actually something I'm trying to confirm here. If you bought all 6 issues, what it says on the Fortnite site is you can redeem each of the 6 comic book issues to unlock the code inside of it, to unlock a new armored Batman Zero outfit. So basically, you can then dress up like Batman. They already have a Batman skin in the game, but this is like a special Batman outfit. Okay, so we knew all this. The problem is DC dropped this out of the blue. They're like, holy shit, we're doing this Fortnite thing. Orders are due like next week. They just got announced. This was a couple months ago, 6 weeks ago, or 8 weeks ago, or whatever. We had a very short turnaround to get these orders in. So nobody had any idea how to order this, right? We didn't really know. The following week, after our orders were placed, DC said, hey, look, we jumped the gun on this. We're going to redo how this is going to work a little bit because clearly the orders are very low. We're going to give you more info. We're going to give you full PDFs. You can read the books. We're also going to make the issues fully returnable. Now, the problem there is because they have the code inside, we can't just strip off the cover and return the cover like we normally do. When a book is returnable, a comic book is returnable, you tear the front cover off, you throw the rest in the trash, and you send the cover back to DC or Marvel or Image or whatever. Because it has its code in it, if you were going to return it, they didn't want the codes to be used, right? I mean, that's really the value of the comic. So you had to send the thing back fully. So I talked with Brock, I talked with our buddy Timmy down at Arsenal Comics down in Ventura, down in Ventura County, down in Los Angeles area. I talked with a few other people online. I sat there and thought, okay, Fortnite's one of the biggest. It's the biggest game in the world, really. It's one of the biggest games in the world ever. It's Batman. It's returnable. There's all this great stuff with this.
All I'm seeing is check boxes being marked off, like as positives.
So I to our multiple thousands of customers in our database, I sent out an email telling them about this comic book. Almost no orders. All right. The Batman people, nobody ordered. The regular walk-ins, almost nobody. Video game comic books traditionally do extremely poor. All right. But I knew it had the skin. I had that stuff in it. And I'm like, I think this is going to be big. But I don't know. I think it's going to be big. And I'm sitting there on the week of FOC. We're doing our order. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the screen. And I'm looking at the number 1. And I put my mouse in the field to put the number. And I type 1, 0, 0, 0. 1,000 copies. And I'm staring at it. Going, am I going to pull the trigger on this? Is this going to happen? Can I do this?
I'm gonna say something real quick. You didn't call me at this point.
We had already talked.
I know we had already talked, but there was no secondary like.
No.
Yeah,
I
sometimes you do. So
now this would not be the most we've ever ordered for a comic book, but this would put it probably number 2 outside of like exclusives. That's different. We have to order extras of those. Talking just copies ordered. And I'm staring at it. And I'm like, I just can't do it. I don't. Video game comics do so poorly. They've had codes in the past.
They've had Fortnite covers that didn't really do too well.
Yeah, I'm like, I know it's going to have the skins, but the stuff's going to be in the games. You're going to be able to buy them. It's timed exclusive, but it's not really for that long. I'm just like, man, I don't think people are going to do this. I don't think they are. The retail forum was, people were like, order 2 and don't worry about it. Nobody's going to care. This is trash. Nobody gives a fuck. Fuck DC. I mean, the retailer forum gives 2 fucks, right? They hated it. They hated the whole idea. Returnable, but you have to return all the covers. The retailer forum was like, so when the retail forums were against it, I was like, oh, I think
you could have done it and sold these idiots copies.
I think this is it. And I'm standing there.
So many goddamn fucking check boxes. Ugh.
I'm staring at this number and I'm like, backspace. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the trigger. So 6 weeks go by. 5 weeks go by because whatever. There's a bit of a longer lead time because of the codes and the backing and everything like that. Nothing. Almost no orders. Brock, you had like 1 or 2 of your kids, like your kids' friends wanted them.
Yeah, I bumped my order up to 6 total. 2 for friends, kids, and another 2 for like their classmates' kids. 2 of them. So, and then my son wanted 1, and it's a Batman comic. So I'm like, I'll just get 1. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
And like, what, maybe I'll download like Fortnite on my PlayStation, plug in a code for Harley, play for Harley for 2 seconds, and then I'm done. Right? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I played Fortnite for half a minute when it came out, and I was like, it is trash, and I just never go back to it again. But kids love it. It's a huge game, right? So I hit submit. I deleted that last 0. I hit submit, sent it off. Weeks go by, and I thought, okay, yeah, no, I think I made the right move. It doesn't seem like anyone really cares about this. And then Fortnite actually decided to promote this. Yep. Right?
But when did they do that?
Friday? Saturday? I think it was Friday. Right? So DC had already promoted this, right? And nobody cared. But then Fortnite promoted it. And holy shit, have the calls not stopped. So we stopped taking pre-orders, right? I took them off the website. I took them off Comic-Con. We just capped the amount that we have. We've signed up a couple dozen people for all the rest of the issues that are all going to have items, not exclusive, but they're going to have items. But there's that thing that if you buy all 6, you get that exclusive skin, which I as far as I can tell from the wording, sounds like you can only get if you buy the comic books or have DC Universe Infinite. I do not believe you'll be able to get it in the game any other way. So second prints of 1 are already allocated and gone. So we're signing people up for 2 and on because I was able to get some extra copies of that. I still don't think we're going to get enough of 2 and 2 and 3 because we've already had to order it, but at least we'll have many more than we will have 1. Then we're signing up people. So we're going to get Brock in the store tomorrow morning while I'm dealing with the regular customers. I'm going to have Brock deal with the Fortnite customers, getting them signed up for all the rest of the issues and get them reserved for issue 1. Because again, they don't really care about the story. They want the codes. So issue number 1, third print is going to come with issue number 4 in June. And so it's, going to get pretty soon. The greatest blunder I have ever made, and I probably could have gone 0-0 and I would have, it would have been amazing. I would have sold every single one. They are selling. They're all, so a skin in Fortnite is in the $10 to $30 range, roughly, depending on what it is.
No, it's about 1,000 V. It's $10 is normally what it is. If it's more, it's normally with cosmetic things like you'll get the pickaxe or like skins for the weapons and like a glider.
There are premium ones though.
Yeah, they're premium ones. Yes.
The high end is $30. It's $5 an issue. 6 issues is $30. So the Batman one I would think would fall under that premium skin. Because it costs $30 to get it if you buy all 6 of the comics. So, I mean, the number 1 codes are selling for $25 on eBay because people can't. They want them to have them for 2 months before they can buy them on the store, right? It's going to be more expensive. The comic is $5, but the code online is going to be $15 or $10 or whatever, right? So, but people are willing to pay $25 now to have it now.
I don't get. If it's going to be on DC Infinite,
you have to have a paid account.
So,
I mean, I'm just saying you have to have a paid account, and then you can get you get all 6 codes if you have a paid DC Universe account
for 1 account.
Yeah, that's us. That we don't care, right? You could sell your codes. Get your codes and sell them on eBay right now. Make $100. Well, $100 after the fact. Yeah, I mean, of course, some people are just going to sign up for DC Universe Infinite for a year, right? So that'll be great. But yeah, or 6 months or whatever to get all 6 codes.
It's only 3 months.
4 months. It'd be April, May, June, July. The final issue.
So this is the same.
Yeah, first week.
So what you're saying is it's mainly the scalpers that are pushing the sales of this book. It's not Fortnite players because
no, it's Fortnite players. Oh, they want this.
Then I still don't. Yeah,
because you get it today. You get it now. Every call I got today was a person who has never read a comic book that plays Fortnite and was like, "How do I get this?" I was like, "You come down tomorrow and get in line, and we'll have a limited amount, and then you sign up, and we get you all the rest of them." And every single person's been like, "Sign me up for the whole series. I want them all."
I guess I still just don't get it when there's the DC Infinite.
But that's more. DC Infinite's more. Maybe not more if you do the 4-month subscription, if you pay for 4 months, but I mean,
it's a hell of a lot cheaper than paying $25 for 1 code.
What's DC Universe for a month?
Isn't it like $8.99? This is funny. We're talking to guys that actually subscribe to it.
It's $7.99 a month. I mean, there might be some. You might have to set up a year subscription to get the codes. I don't actually know. It just says, because you get that automatic free trial. Even if you sign up for a paid account, you still have that like 7 days or whatever. So you're paying to have that skin today. You get a week. Man, a week in Fortnite is a lifetime. This shit changes so fast. So there is still the possibility that people may not care about the random other crap when it goes on, but I'm convinced that this is going to spike again at the end when that final issue comes out and people are like, oh, wait, I need all these codes to get that Batman suit. That Batman skin's fucking awesome. And I can't get it unless I have these codes. So even if I'm still again, I didn't go like nuts on the rest of the issues, but I definitely got more. And I think comic fans may start picking up on this a little bit. I think we talked about this. Number 3 is a crossover with Snake Eyes. So it's Batman and Snake Eyes drawn by Jim Lee. And that's going to get some comic fans to look at it. I definitely ordered more of those. Again, I didn't go bananas. But that first issue, I was like, wow, I got a Harley Quinn skin. Man, I really should order a shitload of these. I think this is the greatest mistake I've made in retailing history.
Yep.
It is the greatest mistake.
And the thing is every single check mark was there that it's fine. It's Batman.
Yeah,
but it's Harley Quinn.
It's a history of these things. It's the returnable is a thing that really tipped me off, and I should have listened to my gut. But these things have traditionally not done what people wanted them to. But
I think this one is because of what's going on now so what's happening in Fortnite now is they're having this primal thing that's going on, and there is this season, I guess, has had already Predator, aliens, Snake.
They have all sorts of shit. Yeah,
they just dropped a Horizon Zero Dawn Aloy skin in the game. There's Tomb Raider. There's just all of these franchise things are just being dumped out right now, and so it's just what the Fortnite people want is they just want more and more and more.
Well, as I said, I still don't get it. I will say, based on what you were saying, Ryan, I do find it funny that they have a link in the news article about it on how to skip the free trial period.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
There you go.
If you wish to skip the free trial period, sign up here.
Yeah. I'm sure they've got people to sign up. I'm sure a million people signed up for DC Universe Infinite. I would guarantee you. But another million are going to want to buy the skin, and they're going to buy the comic books. I mean, you could I'll look right now. Let's see, Batman.
So
or,
Ryan, you may have addressed this. I saw a headline earlier that said all of the other codes after number 1 are going to be available in game, day and date with the comics.
Yeah. Yep. So the rest of the codes will be you can buy the item online and get the comic for the same price. Now that doesn't mean the item might be more expensive than the comic. It might be cheaper, right? But they have not announced anything, so we don't know what the rest of the items are going to be. But that skin at the end, when you redeem that 6 code, as far as I can tell, you have to either buy the comic or have subscribed to DC Universe Infinite for 4 months. And again, Charlie, so that's $32, right? For if it's $8 a month for DC Universe Infinite, or $30 for the comic books. So if you sign up month 2, I don't know if you sign up in May, I don't know if you get that Harley Quinn skin. I don't know. You might have to sign up this week.
Yeah, I don't know those details, obviously. I guess I just, to a degree, balk a little bit at the idea of the aftermarket on this stuff going crazy just for the codes when there's it feels like there should be a cap on how much people are willing to pay for a code when there's the availability to get a code for $8.
Sure. Well, and some of this is also, comic book stuff, right? I think this was greatly underordered. The exclusive variant, what we would call the team variant, is selling for almost $40 online. That's not going to Fortnite people. Maybe that's going to like hardcore Fortnite collectors, but that's going to comic people more than likely, because I don't think a lot of people ordered that. Speaking of which, Brock, you get to go pick up our copies from Elusive.
Okay.
So.
I got to go pick up my copy, and I'm going to charge you for getting the rest of them.
So yeah, my greatest blunder. I'll never live this down. I failed you, DC. I'm so sorry. I
love how you're going to consider this your greatest blunder, and the rest of us are probably just going to forget about it. Because as you said, we don't care about this comic.
But I care about lots of money. That's what I care about. This is my greatest blunder. I would have sold all of these. All of them. I would have sold every single one. What was I thinking? Anyway.
You're thinking that there's no such thing as free money?
Yeah. Speaking of what are they thinking, a couple months ago, Jesus, was it that long ago? Maybe technically a couple months ago. We did a special podcast. We had our good friend Brace on to discuss the X-Men vote for the new team where they were going to pick a member, where the audience could pick a member to be on the X-Men. I don't know if you guys remember all the great choices, but I have our top 10. These are the finalists going to the number 1, who will be the character that will join the X-Men, the new X-Men team. Now, we got more to say about X-Men, so I want to get to that in a minute, but I want to go through this list here. Okay, so there were more than 10. There was 18 or 24 or something. I remember how many there was, but there was more. But the top 10, number 10, Strong Guy. Oh, no, was there only 10? No, there had to have been more than 10. Of course there was more than 10. Number 10 was Strong Guy. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. Number 9 was Cannonball. That's actually much lower than I anticipated. I think Cannonball had some fans.
Okay, so you got X Factor and New Mutants. All right, keep going.
And number 8 is Marrow. Okay, probably should have been number 10, but whatever, right? Now, number 7, we've got to have words, people, because Boom Boom came in at number 7, and I will not stand for Boom Boom coming in at number 7 on this list, okay?
Hey, it's either Boom Boom or Gold Balls. Pick one.
Well, fortunately, Gold Balls is not on this list. Number 6, Toby's going to be disappointed. Armor made the list, unfortunately, at number 6, not quite high enough. Number 5, now this is the one that I remember when I was like, who the hell is this? Number 5, Tempo. Who the hell is Tempo? I've never heard of this character before. Had long conversations about this. I have no idea who this character is. There was more than 10. Why is there only 10 on this list? There was definitely more than 10. 10 isn't like a... Is there more than 10? Was it like 14 or 16 or something stupid? Anyway, I don't know. Maybe there's only 10. I thought there was more. Number 5 is Tempo. I don't know who Tempo is. Who the hell is Tempo? Nobody knows. Number 4 is
X-Liberation person.
Yeah, we had this conversation. I've never heard of this character.
More.
Number 4
is... The fun part is we can now say that issue of X-Force is the first appearance of Tempo.
Number 4 is Forge. Again, I don't like Forge. Forge should be like number 8 on this
I
list.
like Forge.
I know you do.
I defended Forge.
I give crap about Forge. He's like such a random character that don't do anything with. Forge is fine.
Because
he's
always
so glad
he
placed as high as he did.
I am very surprised. I'm very surprised. Now, number 3. Okay, we're getting to the top 3 here. Sunspot. I actually peg Sunspot may go all the way. But, no, number 3. Number 2, Banshee. And that's like, all right, Banshee's been on the team. Like, I kind of don't know why he's on this list. Like, the rest of these characters haven't really been on the main X-Men book. Banshee's been on it, so I'm like, okay. But anyway, Banshee's number 2. Fine, Banshee's great. Banshee's very popular. And of course, without question, there was never any other option. The number 1 pick was Polaris. Of course it's Polaris. Of course she's going to win. It's like it wasn't even a choice. I don't think there was any chance anyone else was going to win this except for Polaris. So Polaris is on the new X-Men team. Yay, I guess. Like, okay.
Wow, that list countdown and then that
well, it's like
enthusiasm.
Congratulations, it's Polaris, who's been on the X-Men all the time.
Yeah, she was in Brubaker's run, wasn't she?
She's been on the X-Men multiple times. Like, I think this list would have been interesting if you took Polaris and Banshee out of the running and put like 2 more kind of D-list characters in that list. Sunspot's pretty big, but the rest of them, Sunspot and Cannonball, are legitimately like bigger, long-time running characters. But yeah, Polaris. Okay, well, Polaris is on the X-Men team. Yay! Congratulations. Polaris.
I'm surprised there wasn't any more like ecstatic characters or Dupe.
Oh. Now, if Dupe was on the list,
if
Dupe was on the list, and he didn't win, I would burn Marvel to the ground. Like that just there wouldn't have been an option. I mean, if Dupe didn't take it, it's rigged, right? Because Dupe wins every time. It's fucking Dupe.
Well, you just said it was rigged because of Polaris.
Well, it was rigged because of Polaris. But if Dupe was on that list, Dupe would be Polaris. Okay, don't, dude. Hashtag Team Dupe. Okay, he is the greatest. He's the greatest. I hear Jim screaming in the background how much he hates Dupe right now, and my love of these very obscure X-Men characters. Dupe's amazing. Everyone loves Dupe.
Does Jim hate Dupe?
Yes, Jim hates Dupe.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah. I don't know that he actually hates them. I think like Bryce, he hates them because I like them so much. Because I'm like Wolverine,
I know
Jean
that
Grey, Dupe's my man. Okay, like Colossus, fuck off. Like I don't give a fuck about any of you people. Dupe. Now we're talking. Okay.
So if Sideshow or Tweeterhead made a Dupe statue, you'd be there like day one.
I would buy it. I'm surprised Toby of all characters doesn't like Dupe because of his close relation and physical appearance to Slimer from Ghostbusters. I figured
because
Dupe
he's not Slimer, all right? You don't put up with imitations, my friend.
But it's Marvel's Slimer, okay?
It's not Slimer. You don't get the point.
Oh, I understand. I love Slimer too. Maybe Slimer and Dupe should have a crossover. That'd be amazing.
IDW and Marvel put something out?
That would be that'd be good.
Kevin's just like, what the hell am I here for?
Since you mentioned Dupe, I keep thinking about the like Wolverine and the X-Men comic that was just all from like Dupe's perspective for an issue.
It was very good. Now we have a couple X-Men things to talk about here because a series. This was the catalyst for a series of things over the week that I am a little confused by.
Because you weren't paying attention, or they just randomly happened, and you're like, "Huh?"
No. All this stuff happened. The announcement of Polaris being on the team, then we got the full X-Men team, all the solicitation text, and yada yada yada, and then something else happened. So I'll go through both of these at the same time. It's all related, trust me. So we have Polaris joining the X-Men. Cool. They're going to relaunch X-Men with a new number 1. Okay.
No.
Yeah, of course. X-Men will be written by Jerry Duggan with Pepe Larraz doing the art, not Jonathan Hickman. Now, there is another they announced like more new X-Men titles, right, that go along with X-Men number 1 by Jerry Duggan. Duggan? I say Duggan? Is it Duggan? Duggan?
Jerry D.
So Hickman is off of X-Men. Now he is going to do something. There was a unannounced title by Hickman in this little list, but as of this recording, at least I looked. Nothing has been announced as far as I can tell. He is not going to be doing the primary X-Men team. It sounds like he returns. I believe it said September for his new title, which is not X-Men, by the way, because
maybe it will finally be the Moira book.
Could be, right? Because at the same time,
it's fucking. He's writing Dupe, man.
We got now. I'd be down with.
Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely on Dupe. Are you there?
Oh, hell yeah. We got a new solicitation for Charlie. This goes to you for the X-Men by Jonathan Hickman Omnibus, which collects X-Men, his run of X-Men and the run of Giant Size, all the one-shots, right?
Minus the X of Swords is not in there.
Not
and
X
of course,
of
like the House of X and Pox are not part of that. So they're putting out a
not the Empire issues
companion omnibus basically to the other hardcovers they already have out.
Right. So this feels like, I mean, I guess they could have a second volume down the road, but this kind of feels like maybe Hickman's like is this it? He's still like working on stuff, but this feels like this is the end of his run on X-Men. So if he does, Moira, or he does these little other side books, that's cool. But I'm a little unsure of why putting this out, because they tend not to do these until the runs are complete, right?
Well, we still really haven't gotten a Jason Aaron Thor omnibuses.
Well, right, sure, and that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what this means. Now the X-Men book coming out is appears to be an X-Men team of X-Men doing X-Men things. One of my complaints about the X-Men title is all the X-Men books have been, it sets something up really neat and then has just wandered aimlessly for 200 issues between all the titles. There's not really a through narrative on.
Krakoa is the thread, man. It's all Krakoa.
Yes.
It's all about having parties and rebirth and populating the world with mutants, baby. Peace, love, and mutants. The funny thing is that's actually what's going on.
It is. I just don't know where this goes. I don't.
So many more mutants. Scarlet Witch is going to say it.
Like they're going to relaunch. I don't think they're going to cancel a relaunch like every X-Men book, right? I mean, all the tie-in stuff. I don't think. Clearly, a couple are going to wrap up.
Marvel, they'll relaunch anything in a number one.
So my actual curiosity for this, especially with the way this is going on, is what is the pitch for this new X-Men book? Basically, is he handing over the current state of the X-Men books to a new writer to figure out a way to wrap up, or are they just going to shift to a new narrative and then leave Hickman to do something to wrap up that story arc in a separate book?
Well, I will read to you exactly what it says. It says, the current era of X-Men has evolved mutant storytelling like never before. No longer protecting a world that hates and fears them, the X-Men said goodbye to their dream of coexistence and founded a thriving mutant homeland. But in the aftermath of X of Swords, original X-Men Cyclops and Marvel Gore realized the world needs its premier team of mutant superheroes. Things might be complicated between the nations of Krakoa and the rest of the Marvel Universe, but to the X-Men, things are simple. You do what's right, you protect those who need protecting, and you save the world we all share. This new team are the chosen champions of mutant kind, and they're up to any battle to protect their people and their home planet. That, to me, sounds like an X-Men superhero team disconnected from the ongoing narrative of the Hickman X-Men. Right? I mean,
I would agree with that.
It does not feel like this. I mean, we're going to be at like 200 something issues by the time this is all done. The X-Men books have been 20 plus issues across 10, 12, 14, 15 series or whatever. It has been a humongous storyline. Reign of X, I think, is what the new match is called. I think that is Reign of X starting with X-Men 1? I can't remember when that Reign of X is considered.
Well, right now you have the Way of X.
That's the new series. Yeah, that's the Nightcrawler series. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused with this. I think if you're a hardcore Hickman fan, this might not be the book for you. But I mean, if you bought in, you're buying all the X-Men books. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you're gonna like this. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens as we get closer. I think we're kind of looking at the end of the Hickman era of X-Men, and his story will continue. I hope it does, because I feel like it got very lost in the ongoings. But we'll see.
A Hickman story got lost in a Hickman story.
Yeah. That does seem to happen pretty regularly. All right, we got a couple movie, TV show things to talk about here around the wonderful world of comic books. And then we got some Falcon and Winter Soldier to talk about. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about... Where do you guys want to start? Was I with Shang-Chi?
Sure.
You see the trailer?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I got a question for you. Kevin, do you see the trailer? You were
I
no trailer?
I watched the first 2 minutes just for you.
That's the trailer. I mean...
Oh, I just stopped. I gave it 2 minutes and then I just stopped. I didn't look how much was left.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think
trailer
so.
generally is 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, you
Okay.
literally were almost to the end. And
That's
like,
fine. That's
That's all right.
15
Whatever.
seconds of that is just title crawl. Like,
All right. Well, whatever. I didn't check how long it ultimately was. All I allow myself is 2 minutes.
fine.
sounds like a
So they're still saying, what is it? September, right?
September 13th.
Now I got a question. I want to get everyone's take on this, but then I have to read a quote from, I believe it was Entertainment Weekly. But why don't we go around? Everyone give their 30 seconds on the 2.5 minute trailer. Tell me what you guys think, and then let me wrap up because we'll get to the end. I got a question I want to ask everyone. But
I mean, I thought it was the trailer was okay. Like it felt like like a Marvel movie. I don't really know the history of Shang-Chi, so for me, this is one of those things where I'm like, oh, okay, it seems interesting enough for me to check out. So, you know,
Kevin can correct me here if my knowledge is incorrect. I don't know if your Shang-Chi knowledge is super great, but he is the descendant of Fu Manchu
Yes.
originally.
Right. Except Marvel doesn't have the rights to Fu Manchu anymore.
Right. So I don't know if the current status of him, I don't know if they've retconned that within the comics or they just don't acknowledge it.
maybe he's the son of the human embodiment of Fing Fang Foom.
Well,
Got a big dragon at the end of this movie.
but that's actually part of what I want to talk about when I get around. So, Kevin, you watched 2 minutes. What do you think?
I thought it looked really good. Not really a hot take. I mean, it was fun to see Tony Leung in a Marvel movie. And, you know, obviously it's a teaser and it's just going to drop little kind of pearls. But I've been looking forward to this movie. My fear all along was with Shang-Chi would be kind of like if they announced they're making Tomb of Dracula in the MCU, in the sense that there's been a million martial arts movies before now, just like there's been a million vampire movies. And what are you going to do that's different other than just saying it's set in the Marvel universe?
Right.
So my fear is that it's going to be a bunch of CGI martial arts fights like the Matrix, the later Matrix movies. I'm hoping it's not that, and this trailer looked pretty good. Intriguing.
Charlie.
I mean, I'm definitely interested in seeing the movie, but I would definitely also acknowledge that Shang-Chi is probably one of the few comic book characters that my knowledge is extremely limited on.
Yeah, he just doesn't appear very often, especially in the last 20 years. There's only been a handful of titles.
Yeah, like I can remember what he looks like and that kind of stuff, but I have no attachment to any story they've ever done with him that I've read.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm probably in the same boat. I don't know that I've read more than 20 comics that he's been in. Like every random guest appearance from the 90s till now. Maybe it's 20 comics. Like if it's more than that, I'd be surprised.
You mean his main book or just where he's popped up?
No, like just I've never read any of his main books from the 70s or anything. I mean, from like when I've started reading comics till now, if I've read 20 comics that he's been in, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
He just doesn't show up very often. Obviously, there's more stuff now because we're leading into the movie. There's a couple of miniseries, but yeah, the last 20 years, very, very, very minimal. Yeah. Toby, what you thinking?
Yes. I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess I'm
Asian
trying to...
guys in San Francisco, and you're telling me you don't know?
It's not Big Trouble in Little China. Like, that's the measuring bar for me for this. Like, it can't be a kung fu movie, and it's true heart because it's got CGI and shit and like powers involved and stuff. So
I mean, that what's to me
I always hated those.
Between all the wire fu stuff and it's the same.
Yeah, no, I always. I mean, I like the traditional martial arts movies over the fantasy martial arts stuff. Like at least but to me, like, I want this to be Marvel's Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah,
and maybe that's what we're getting, but I didn't get enough of that, I guess, from the trailer. So. And maybe I'm just trying not to overhype myself. So I don't know. I don't know where I stand on this one. I honestly don't know. Maybe I just seen too many Awkwafina movies at this point where I'm like, why is she in this movie? So I mean, nothing against her. I think she's great, but maybe I've just seen too many movies of hers in a row. But yeah. I do not know where I stand on this. So maybe the next trailer, when he saw those tigers running around, I'm like, fuck yes. But I don't even know if that's a dream sequence or a flashback or something like that. Or it could be part of the finale, right? So I don't know where I stand on this one. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're all going to watch it, but this trailer doesn't have me hyped, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the most excited for the Shang-Chi movie on this group. I can't believe it.
Well, I liked it. I thought the trailer was pretty good. It's funny, a couple days ago, Leanne was like, I really want to watch some Jackie Chan movies. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we watched Police Story the other night.
Oh, it's on HBO, right? Police Story?
Yeah. We got a bunch more queued up.
You gotta watch all of them. You gotta go Police Story 2, 3, 4.
I know, yeah. That's the plan.
Don't watch New Police Story. That one sucked. And don't watch a reboot Police Story, which is like, eh.
Toby, Drunken Master, right? He needs to see that.
Drunken Master 1 and 2.
I've seen those. She has.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, like Rumble in the Bronx, I saw like way back.
Don't see that. That's Jackie Chan light. You want the real thing?
Yeah, no.
Operation Condor. Project.
I did the whole Armor of God, Operation Condor like deep dive because I was like, "Hey, aren't these the same movies?" Oh no, they're like backwards in America. So weird.
As long as we're going down this path, these are not on HBO. But see, Toby might back me up on this or not. All-time favorite martial arts movie. I will nominate the 36th Chamber of Shaolin.
That's up there. Yeah,
as my number one with a bullet.
I borrowed a lot of those Shaw Brother movies from someone a while back.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch The Victim with Sammo Hung.
They are sitting on my hard drive to watch after I burned them. So they
won't ever be seen.
I got my NAS up. Oh, I got my Plex server up on my NAS server. I have been organizing like crazy. Kevin, organizing is 9/10 of the job.
The date of this recording is April 20.
Just mark the decade.
I'll check back on this around Halloween and see how many Shaw Brothers movies you've seen.
See, the thing is Ryan's going to have all this stuff organized and ready to go, and then he'll watch these. He'll be so old, he'll watch these movies like Toby and just fall asleep in the middle of them. That's what happens now.
By the time I'm old, I'll actually have sleep, and therefore I'll be able to watch all these movies.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorting now for decades. For when I retire, I could just sit back in my recliner, just hit play.
Yeah. See, I'm going to live forever because I'm going to have all the entertainment queued up, so I will live on forever and have nothing else to do.
I can't die till I've watched all of them and I've read every comic book I have.
And build every Lego set I own.
So it's immortal, right? Because it'll never end. So I have a question here. This was an article.
How do you guys feel about the changing of the rings? Like, to me, it makes sense because
I don't even know. Like, I don't look into this stuff before the movie comes
rings
out. I don't want to
on the wrist now, not rings on the fingers.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, on the martial arts level, it actually slightly makes more sense. Like, it actually makes more sense. It's just it caught me off guard because I'm so used to Mandarin and rings and so classic with the Mandarin and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
So it caught me off guard. But I mean, the more I think about it for a movie universe, it actually does make more sense. But growing up, that it's always been rings on fingers. That I'm like, it kind of just took me by surprise. So I have to get used to it.
I think Mandarin and that very like elongated racist kind of trope. The rings on all the fingers is very there's maybe some questionable nature of that look that they wanted to avoid. I wouldn't maybe skip that. But that's related to the question I want to ask. So this was an article. This was like Entertainment Weekly or Hollywood Reporter. This was like not like some nonsense. This was like the official announcement of this trailer. Okay. Wenwu, that's Shang-Chi's father in this movie. This character. What's the actor's name? Kevin, you just mentioned it a few minutes ago.
Tony Leung. He's a classic. You gotta watch.
Oh, what's his name?
Tony Leung. You have to watch like all the John Woo movies, man.
Yeah.
Superstar. The actor?
Yeah.
Oh, Toby, I was thinking of him from the Wong Kar-wai movies.
Yeah. Oh, that too.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Wait, isn't he the Mandarin?
Yeah.
Let me read.
Well,
let me read this.
Go.
So his name is Wenwu, Wenwu. You can pronounce that for me, Toby. Wenwu is a new character created entirely for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay. He has ties to the Ten Rings, the mysterious terrorist organization first name dropped in 2008's Iron Man. Blah, 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 blah. Wenwu has gone by many names throughout the decades, and one of those titles is the Mandarin, one of Marvel Comics' most infamous villains. What? What? He's a brand new character created entirely for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Mandarin.
Well, this could be like Liam Neeson in Batman Begins,
but
where he's Henri Ducard, quote unquote.
This is just for you, Ryan. They don't do the bamboozlement, the fakearoo again for you, just for you.
They just tell me up front.
Yeah.
So the opening of this movie is him actually killing Ben Kingsley, right? Like we see who does sense? That.
Well,
no, but they're like, he's the Mandarin, an entirely new character created for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's a legendary Marvel villain.
You hide the fact that it's the Mandarin.
The problem with this character already is you're in a funhouse hall of mirrors, because the Mandarin in the Silver Age was created to be a stand-in for Fu Manchu, who they didn't have the rights to, and then they got the rights to Fu Manchu, so you have an imitation of the real thing that then was the... You see where we're going? We're already...
Yeah.
Well, maybe Fu Manchu is just another name for this character now.
I don't expect fucking, long bearded, alien looking with the giant fingers. I don't expect that Mandarin to come rolling, that racist character to come rolling out in this movie, right? That's not what I expected. But this guy's the fucking Mandarin. So what is with this article? What is with this quote from them? He's created entirely for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, except he's the Mandarin. So I don't understand this. Am I out of my mind here? This makes no sense. They
created a new character to hide the fact that he is the Mandarin.
Someone had a great reply to one of my tweets. He says, "This reminds me of the wholly new villain the Arkham Knight video game made for Batman Arkham Knight. But it was just Jason Todd with the exact same backstory. Just he called himself the Arkham Knight." I was like, so if you ever play that game, you play the game and you're like, oh, so that's Jason Todd, right? That's just Jason Todd. Of course, that's Jason Todd. They introduced Jason Todd in the game, and there's a mysterious masked villain. That villain is Jason Todd because that's Jason Todd. Oh, look. 3/4 of the way through the game, it's revealed that's Jason Todd. And you're like, well, yeah, no shit, that's Jason Todd. It's the only other character in this game. So, I guess they're going to be like, I can picture, at the end of this movie, they're like, Shang-Chi, you don't understand. I am the Mandarin. And they're like...
It'd be like Benedict Cumberbatch in Star Trek.
Yeah. Oh, God. No shit. No shit, you're Khan. Yeah, no shit, you're Khan. What the fuck? Are they trying to why would they hide? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. He's the Mandarin. This is fucking like Spider-Man. They're like, oh no, in this movie, Mysterio was a hero from another universe. Fuck off. Fuck yourself. What the hell? What bullshit are you trying to pull here? Just tell us he's the fucking villain in it. Like, who cares? You're not going to spoil anything. It's Mysterio. We know he's the villain.
With a name like that, you don't think hero?
Well, Higgins, there may be more normals in the world than you think.
Do you think anyone walked into that movie and was like, holy shit, Mysterio's the bad guy? Like, you really think anyone thought he was a good guy for any second in that movie? No.
Oh, because of that, I have to find that one person.
Oh, come
Toby,
on.
you could also look for the one person who thought Sinestro was just another good guy in the Green Lantern movie.
But he was.
Oh my god, he turned Dr. Doom is the bad guy?
His name's Victor Von Doom?
Doom?
Ay.
Why do I
Anyway.
just envision like nerd comic book skits where they just have this stuff actually play out?
Just being shocked by people turning evil.
Just stupid, just shocked. Like,
I really like the Shang-Chi trailer. That confuses me. That really confused me when I read that article this morning. I was like, I don't understand this at all. Like, what are they talking about? All right.
They'll throw Ben Kingsley in there just to mess with you, and you'll be like,
No, you don't understand, Brock. Like,
They already killed him, right?
Well, no, at the end of the movie, he's going to pull up his mask, and it's going to be Ben Kingsley.
Didn't they kill him in the short?
And
Yes.
just for Ryan, he's going to let out a fart on top of that.
I would expect nothing less.
And then the stork will come out and be like,
Yeah,
well, I'm the
that
Mandarin.
fuck that. Jesus.
Like a big clown horn. Credits.
And credits, they're going to go, we all return in the Speedball movie.
Now we're talking.
That's
Now
our
we're talking.
penance.
Now, see, this is how you do it. Okay? Because I'll tell
what
you.
if the Speedball movie is called Speedball ... Penance? Would you go watch it then?
This is how you do it, okay? Alfred Molina came out and said, yeah, I'm in the Spider-Man movie. Like, who fucking cares?
But he's not Doc Ock, right?
I don't know.
He's a brand new
I don't
character for this movie who was
Brand
one
new
called
character.
Otto Octavius.
Otto Octavius is the bad guy?
that we've never heard of before. So this has been a rumor for a long time that obviously, we still don't know exactly what's going on with Spider-Man 3, but there's a lot of people claiming that a lot of people claiming multiple villains and characters are going to return in this. Tobey Maguire is going to be in it. What's the other dude's name?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield's going to be in it, right? Blah, 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 blah. And one of the big ones was that Alfred Molina is going to return Doc Ock.
Well, I
And
felt like that's the one that kicked off all the other ones. Like that
Yeah,
started circulating, and then everybody's like, "Well, if he's in it, that means so and so is going to be in it." And so,
I want Thomas Hayden Church back, man.
Well, he just said while we were shooting it, we're all under orders not to talk about it because it was supposed to be some great secret. But it's all over the internet. So he's like, yeah, whatever. I'm back after 17 years to play the same role. So he's just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just playing Doc Ock. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, everyone knows. So there you go.
Bring back Spider-Man 3 Sandman.
Well, next week you're gonna have Sony PR going, no, actually, he's a brand new character.
That's what Kevin just said. He apparently strongly hinted that he's going to be digitally de-aged for the movie, so we'll see how that goes.
So he's teenage Doc Ock.
Maybe.
He's going to be Tarkin.
And in a similar fashion, because apparently this is the week where they're just like, we're just
Hey,
giving up
guess
trying
what?
to
This shit is real. That has been real. That's
we'll just tell everyone, just confirm it. Michael Keaton himself did not confirm it, but his agency, his agent said, Michael Keaton's going to be Batman in the Flash movie. So, again, there'd been a lot of talk, and
Wait, Michael Keaton's Batman,
and there had been there was like I think this had been all but, I don't know that this was ever confirmed by Warner Brothers, but because of like the artwork they showed for the Flash movie and a bunch of other stuff, people were like, "That's Michael Keaton Batman." So,
well, that was the DC Thunderdome thing, like
yeah, the fandom,
fandom thing, yeah.
So I don't know how much. I don't know how much. I think we all knew this was happening. I think it was all but confirmed, but at least his agency has now confirmed it. So, and the reason they confirmed it was because they finally, the Flash is happening. They started filming the Flash. They were in production.
That was today they started filming?
That was Flash Day 1. Was tweeted on. What day is this? What day was this? There was like a little logo. Yeah, it was yesterday. It was Monday. Yeah. So, as of recording. So, yeah, the Flash has started production. So that movie's maybe happening for the ninth time.
I love that even though it's in production now, you're just like, but is it really in production?
Oh, so the Flash movie is the ultimate. I'll believe it when I see a trailer.
So what we need somebody to do is to snatch one of the lanyards that has a different name for the movie just for Ryan, and then send it to him, and then just tease him with all of this stuff.
I don't need that, but that's fine. There's been a lot. I mean, it's coming out November 4th, 2022. So yeah, movies. I feel like movies used to take years to make. Now they're like, oh, we'll have it done in like 6 months, and they're just like hauling ass. And I guess there's a lot of digital effects, and they could just hire out to 20 different.
Yeah, James Gunn announced that Suicide Squad is completely done.
Yeah, Squad's 100% done, like ready to go today. So I think. Especially if you look at, when you look at the credits in all these movies, they're like, digital production team, and it's not just 900 names; it's 900 names for 20 different companies. They get so many different companies to work on the digital effects. The amount of filming, the amount of actual filming done for a lot of these superhero movies, I think is very minimal these days. They're putting these movies out fast. It's not like
they're also using a lot of like especially in Falcon Winter Soldier, they're just using a lot of like random locations to have scenes, right? Like you're like, why is this taking place here?
Well, if you look like Mandalorian, right? They basically they have this stuff set up like a video game. They do the production in
like a circle.
Yeah. But what's with like the big screens around it? But what's is it Unreal? Is it Unreal Engine they use
for what?
For Mandalorian? Oh, I thought we were talking about this.
I don't think it's not Unreal.
Is it not? Yeah, I can't remember what the engine is, but it's one of the video game engines. And yeah, I think they're able to shoot this stuff very quickly compared to how long it used to take.
Well, look how fast they pumped out Mandalorian season 1 and 2.
Well, that's what I mean. Very, very quickly. And I they filmed Shang-Chi super quick, and it's going to be out in a couple months. And I think just the time to do these big superhero movies is just becoming shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter.
I think the really awkward thing about the Shang-Chi movie, though, is that normally we would get this the July before it happened, because this would be the drop at Marvel's big panel at Comic-Con.
Well, but that's what I mean. I think we're at the point now where Comic-Con can happen and the movie could be out before the next Comic-Con, and they don't even have a trailer. They would have like a promo, but we get the first Shang-Chi trailer because they just finished filming a few weeks back, and we already have this trailer with completed effects, and we're 5 months from release. So they can have this stuff done way quicker.
Just the Hollywood's just become more efficient. Got to pump out those blockbusters. Sure. Right, the blockbusters are what's going to make you enough money to do those period pieces where there's a bunch of old shit that you got to get.
And if everything's digital, it's just all. I don't want to say it's easy, but it is not. It does not take as long. It's just a different method. So yeah, I'm super excited about all this stuff. I'm obviously excited about Flash and Batman. See what they do with that. I think Shang-Chi looked great. No Way Home could be cool. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, again, and that comes out in November, so we'll get a trailer. We'll get a trailer like in June. All right. I mean, they just finished filming that too, so should be fairly soon. We'll get a trailer.
So we got Suicide Squad, Black Widow, or is Black Widow first?
Black Widow is July. Suicide Squad is August. Shang-Chi is September.
Okay.
Eternals is. Do you remember there's an Eternals movie this year? November.
So they're dropping Spider-Man and Eternals in the same month?
Spider-Man is November.
Did they push Eternals to December?
No, I don't think so. Trying to see what the next ones are.
We're not looking this up while we're recording, by the way.
Oh, no, Spider-Man's December. Sorry, Spider-Man is December. Yeah.
Okay, so Eternals is going to be November.
Eternals is November, yeah. And Squad, there's nothing else, right? Nothing else from DC?
I mean, unless they finish doing Aquaman 2 or that Cyborg movie.
Oh, they haven't started those, so I don't think that's happening. No, Shazam and Flash are the only two in any sort of...
that's next year.
Yeah. So I think it's just... Oh, and Batman's next year, of course. They just finished that. Here we go, guys. Comic movies are all coming back.
Remember when we had to go to like 3 comic book movies and get a Star Wars movie all in the span of 1 month?
Good times, man. Good times. A lot of stuff coming out. All right. We're talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, especially episode 5. This is your spoiler warning. It's going to wrap up the podcast, so if you don't want to hear about it...
No questions to this week? No questions?
Check out. We got Falcon and Winter Soldier. I got a couple things to say here.
Okay, hold on. He's going to rip the fucking Band-Aid off. That's what he's going to do.
I got a couple things to say.
Wait, so Ryan Higgins is the villain of this episode?
I want to hear from Toby. I especially want to hear from Kevin because I'm curious what Kevin thinks.
Once again, Kevin's opinion matters most.
It's not that it matters.
This has been a common theme. He's like really curious to see what Kevin says.
Because Kevin's an enigma. I usually know what he thinks.
Hold on. Ryan.
Kevin's opinions are generally more mild than I anticipate. It is rare that he like hates something to the core, but when he does, it's glorious. Beautiful. I love hearing about it.
Wait, do you know what Ryan thinks of this last episode?
Well, I'm gonna tell you about it right now.
To hear.
Do you know already, or no? You don't. Don't have a clue.
I think he's negative on it, but I don't know what his criticisms are specifically.
Oh, I tell you right away. It's like a bunch of stupid shit. Like,
spoiler alert.
Yeah. Anyways,
let me tell you. Now we all know WandaVision. I really liked. I have problems with episode number 4 because I feel like they chickened out and they just info dumped everything.
Can I also put that was my favorite episode on that series.
Yeah. And it was for a lot of people, right? It was for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm just setting it up.
Ryan didn't like the merging episode because that's what it was. It was merging everything together to move together.
It wasn't merging. No, it wasn't merging. If they had that episode merged with all the other episodes, I would have no problem with it. It's the fact that they just info dumped for 40 minutes and instead of actually having that play out naturally throughout the rest of the story. I thought it was a big cop out. That said, I really enjoyed WandaVision. I feel my biggest problem with it, though, outside of that episode was, in theory, this is a 1-season television show. However, it's formatted, it ends like it's going to have a second season, except the second season is multiple movies, and we don't actually know what they are. We know Doctor Strange, but things happen in it like a movie and not a TV show. And I thought a lot about this while watching Falcon and Winter Soldier, because I think the problem is these are movie people making these shows, not television people. So, mild spoilers for WandaVision here. I'm going to assume everyone's seen it. Again, spoilers. Please stop if you don't want to hear it. But my biggest problem with the end, other than the multiple characters that really got thrown to the side, they clearly needed a few more episodes to flesh stuff out and wrap stuff up. But whatever. The White Vision just takes off. What's his face?
Can I just say the other side? Hold on. Can I just say the other side while Ryan is doing his version of it? White Vision just takes off. I feel like they left the door open for Vision to come back. Okay, carry on.
Well, of course, but the problem is, in a television show, White Vision would return in season 2.
Well,
as far as we know, there is no season 2 of this.
Yeah, but there's going to be others. There's other miniseries and other shows.
Yeah, in theory, eventually, someday, not next year, not in the
shows up in Armor Wars.
You know what? You gotta have a little bit more trust in the Marvel guys, knowing what they're doing. Whatever it is, but you know what I mean.
A television show and a movie are not the same thing. I have no problem with this, and then WandaVision 2 is announced, and it's out next year, and it continues this plot. I also have no problem if at the end of this, it says, these plots will be continued in Doctor Strange, that's cool. And White Vision is going to be in Armor Wars. But right now, we're left with a lot of characters left in a weird limbo state that did not have a completion in their story. And for a television show, again, that is fine because it would be the next season. However, as of this recording, there's no next season planned for WandaVision. So these characters, Jimmy Woo, all his what's her face, meow meow.
Kate.
Yeah. The fate of any of the people involved in this,
Photon.
The fate of the town, Photon. Right, again, we know that she's going to appear in Captain Marvel 2, but that is years out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The expectation of a television show is different than the expectation of the movie, even the way the Marvel movies have been set up. So, you can disagree with me, that's fine, but that was my biggest complaint with how WandaVision ended, is that we do not know how these are going to pay off. In a television show, it would have paid off next season, but that is not how these shows are structured. So you have to think about these differently. And that's fine, but I wish this was a television show. So when you come to Falcon Winter Soldier, it is, to me, a similar, not same, but a similar problem in that I think very clearly this was a movie that got expanded out to a television show because it is paced possibly the worst I have ever seen a television show paced. Now people tell me online that there was apparently an entire plot about a virus that had to be cut and reshot around because of COVID. And they cut out a major plot of, I guess, whatever the original, I don't know how much was filmed.
Are you saying that about WandaVision, or are you saying that about Winter Soldier right now?
Falcon and Winter Soldier, yeah.
Okay.
That there was some plot involving the Flag Smashers releasing a virus or doing something with a virus. I don't know. Obviously, I have no idea. It's all.
It's a standard. The villain's going to release the gas or the thing,
maybe.
right?
I don't know that this is. This was a confirmed thing. This was all like secondhand info. Is this happened and they had to cut this all out? Okay, totally understandable, right? I don't know how true that is. I don't know anything about it. This is just what I was told from various people on the internet that replied to my threads. Cool. Okay. That said, I had major complaints about the first episode because I thought it was horribly paced. I liked bits and pieces. I actually liked the rest of the episodes, like 2, 3, and 4. I thought there was fun stuff, but I was like, this is 6 episodes. It's short. Again, you have all these characters being set up. I thought this was about Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is like a U.S. agent show. They're not really dealing with anything that I thought this show was going to deal with. It's not really about them. The trailers are not what the show is. It's a totally different thing than what the trailers seem to imply. Their relationship is kind of all over the place. Bucky joins Falcon for no reason out of nowhere in the second episode. Like, there was these weird cuts. It was very poorly paced, but I loved Zemo. There was a lot that I was like, look, there's really good stuff in this. I'm overlooking a lot of stuff until this last episode. It was fucking horrible. It was horrible. Now, there is good characters, there is good scenes, but it was a bad episode of a television show. It was horribly paced. Horrible. Maybe the worst I've ever seen in my entire life of a TV show. It went from this like super serious, great scene with Isaiah, right? That's his name, right? Isaiah, the old Cap, to wacky sitcom, building a boat for 20 fucking minutes. Like, it was like they had all these extra shots that they threw in, and they kept doing it. And I was like, what? Me and Liam were sitting here. We're like, what's going on? Like, what is the deal with this? This never stops. They're training with the Shield, and then he's training with the Shield again, poorly. Like, after that, I'm like, what? Like, what? Why are there like 2 Shield training montages in the same episode? This was and again, I think the problem is, these are movie people, and they don't know how to pace an episode of television. We have 1 episode left. What the fuck is going on? Why is anything happening? Why are the Flag Smashers doing anything they're doing? How did they get the powers? Why do they have anything? Where do they get who is this girl? Why are they following her? Why does she have the I mean, some of the stuff I could have just sort of missed in my watching of the show, but I have like a zillion questions that I don't know any answers to. Why is anything happening? Why is, like, they beat they beat US Agent in the first like 5 minutes of the episode, and you're like, well, now what? Like, okay, what a bizarre opening to this show. Like, that's the end of the episode. That's, again, it's a very badly paced and formatted episode of television. You beat him at the end of the episode. That leads to the next episode. It was like, what? Like, nothing makes sense. They're bobbing around. It's like Westeros here, like season 8 of Game of Thrones. They're zipping around like no time is passing. Why would the Dora Milaje take him to the raft? Why would they take Zemo to the raft? Why the fuck would they take him to the raft? That doesn't make any sense at all. Why did they go to Sokovia? How did they get him there? Why was he there? Like, none of this makes any sense whatsoever. I like US Agent. I like his story. I like everything in these last couple episodes with him. I love Zemo. I love everything about this Zemo. He's amazing. Love seeing the Dora Milaje. Love Falcon. Love Winter Soldier. What is Sharon Carter doing? Who knows? I have no idea. I really like her. What the hell is she doing? Who's the power broker? Who fucking
Sharon
cares?
Carter's the power broker. You didn't see it coming?
Who? Why? What does it matter? What is the power broker doing? They're not doing anything. Who cares?
You know what, Ryan?
Can anyone explain?
When I'm reading a goddamn Morrison book, all right?
But there's a story there.
Ryan, he's saying that it's like you're now experiencing what we're feeling when we read a Morrison book.
Morrison books aren't bad. They're confusing, but they're not badly made. They can be like, trust me. So Green Lantern season 2, me and Kevin have had multiple conversations about this. Okay. That is one hell of a comic book to read. It is tough, and I have no clue what's going on. But it's not like confusing in this way where nothing. Okay. There's no reasoning for this very normal show. So, if anyone can explain any of the questions I asked, I'd love to know.
I want to add to what you just said, Ryan. Every single episode of this show I've watched with my roommate, and after every single episode, I go, "What the fuck pacing was that?" Every single time. And this past episode, I was like, what are we watching? Like, it's almost as if you're bookended by what the story that's supposed to be going on is at the beginning and the end, and then everything in between is just this really bad character development stuff that just doesn't make it's just like, why are we doing this boat thing? Why, like, the whole time I've seen Falcon's sister, I'm like, why are we really diving into him having like his sister?
Like I said, I'm okay with these ideas, the plot, the general plot. I don't mind them wanting, if they want to do 6 episodes of Falcon Winter Soldier working on a boat and getting in the shenanigans, go for it. That sounds fun, right? But it's so weird. He's like, I'm gonna have this super ass serious conversation about races in America, and then whatever, let's go fix a boat. He throws the shield down in disgust, and then they're best friends, like, in the next scene. And you're like, wait, what? I thought they just, like, aren't they fighting? Like, I thought they just kind of broke up. What? Broke up, quote unquote. I'm like, what?
Well, so for me, the weird part was that opening of that episode. I'm like, okay, U.S. agents running away from the scene that he just did. Now we're in some random abandoned warehouse, like, industrial area, and Falcon and Bucky found him there, not coming from the way he came, but coming a complete different direction. Like, I like know. the whole scene. I was just like, why are they even in there? Like, it made no sense.
Yeah, I didn't notice it as much until this episode, because I like the characters. I like the potential the show had. I like the to me, Zemo saved the show. I think if Zemo wasn't good, I would have maybe the last couple episodes I would have noticed it more. But I just was like, okay, I'm along for the ride. I want to see where this goes. This last episode completely fell apart for me, and I cannot remember the last time I've been so taken out of something I did actually enjoy, and I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on in this. I seriously have no idea what the motivation of any character is in the show, any villain. I don't know what the plot is. I don't know why the Flag Smashers are doing what they're doing, where they got the stuff from, why they have it, who they are, why they're doing it, why anyone cares, why they're going after them. Like, I have like vague, it's like, okay, they're bad guys doing bad stuff, so go fight them. But like, that's not an explanation. They have, again, this is like WandaVision. They have a shitload of stuff to cover in this next episode, and they're not going to cover any of it. And we're going to be left with a ton of open plots that might get followed up someday somewhere, and that's not a television show.
Okay,
Charlie, Toby, Kevin, I want someone else to talk. Tell me why I'm an idiot. Tell me why I'm horrible.
You spent all this time setting up that you really wanted to hear from Kevin, and then you won't give him an edge to actually talk.
No, I'm done.
Charlie, take it away.
I don't think that I'm as sensitive to the pacing issues as you seem to be. Like, I don't question what the Flag Smashers are doing, because I kind of got the idea of what they were doing based on the 5-year jump and how they got allowed to be into all these places and then basically started getting kicked out when people came back, and they're basically fighting for their home that way. I get that. Yeah. So their motivation is clear to me, and the fact that they stole the serum from the power broker and that stuff also kind of makes sense to me, which kind of puts them being chased down by both sides. So again, I'm not confused there. I agree that the order things happened in was a little weird because it did sort of change the tone. But again, none of those individual scenes felt out of place because they had established the boat and then dropped it for a long time and then came back to it. And I kind of feel like they gave that some resolution. The scene in the beginning, I see no reason to believe that they ever lost, like, U.S. agent. Like, yes, he fled to a warehouse. It doesn't mean that he was necessarily by himself not being followed. In fact, it was more of a reaction to the fact that he realized he just really fucked up, that he felt the need to get away from the public. And you kind of glossed over the whole, like, trial part where he's been basically told to stand down as Captain America, and everything that happened after that.
That was fine.
Like,
That was fine.
Ton of important things happened in this episode. Yes, the order and the feel of what happened, but there is an actual like linear story there to follow. And like this episode in a lot of ways was much more Sam's story in coming to terms with his own acceptance of taking on the mantle and what that means.
I think the only problem I had with the trial was that it was like time is like hyper sped up in these episodes. They're skipping like huge chunks of time, and it's kind of inconsistent because that's not something that would happen like two hours later. Like, so I mean, I can kind of hand wave that away a little bit. That doesn't really bug me, but I did kind of feel like, oh, okay, I guess we're just go straight into this. We're just going to skip like the weeks that take place in between. But that to me just go back to the general pacing problems of the show. Winners or a U.S. agent getting, I mean, whatever, just call him U.S. agent. That's what he is. U.S. agent he's a totally brand new original Marvel character that is completely not U.S. agent. Created just for the MCU. So with U.S. agent, I give me a season of him in court. Give me a season of him going out there and being an asshole and them having to take him down. It's just so rushed because they're trying to fit in like too much, and it really kills the pacing. People were talking about like, oh, Battlestar dies. It's like, you fucking barely knew him. He was in like 20 minutes of the TV show.
Well, I know him from the many years of reading him. I know him.
Yeah, but that's not, that's not the same thing. But anyway, Kevin, Toby, I want, keep going.
I mean, the Battlestar stuff, we knew what we needed to know about that character. Like, he was basically fridged, basically.
Yeah. And he doesn't die in the comics. I mean, he's alive, or he was alive in the comics. I don't know if he is anymore, but he never like was killed off in the comics, as far as I know.
At least he was alive very, very, very recently.
But yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with the pacing. It did feel odd, but it moved all the little thread stories that they decided to cram into this show forward. I could have seen some of them being cut. Like, there's definitely some of the story arcs I'm more invested in, but I don't really care if the pacing is off as long as the story's still there.
Toby, you want to jump in on this?
Well, I don't really have much to say because I have absolutely no problem with the pacing. I do not understand any of the things that Ryan was pointing out, like, at all. Like, I look at these as little mini-series, and I have no doubt in my mind that a loose thread will get picked up in other shows and other series and other mini-series. Like, these characters will pop up in other places. It's obvious that they're setting up U.S. Agent to show up again. Like, I don't get the problems. I really do not. I actually legitimately do not understand Ryan's issues.
Well, let me. Sorry, Charlie. Give me 2 seconds. In the movies, in every single one of the MCU movies, whether I liked them or not, whether it was Winter Soldier or whether it was Iron Man 3, doesn't matter what end of the spectrum, they had a complete story, start, middle, end. You had maybe a little tease. You had the after credits scene. That's great. But I would never felt any of those movies left major plot points completely open that they were going to explore in unknown future. They would have some plots that would get picked up clearly in other places. But not a single one of those movies did I walk out going, well, where does this go now? They all were complete stories.
It's literally
if you can do it in a 2-hour movie, you can do it in 6 episodes.
But this is not how I'm feeling about any of this. Like, this is not how I felt about Scarlet Witch, and this is not how I'm feeling about Winter Soldier right now.
I have zero hope that it's going to wrap up in the next episode this week.
Well, I
zero, because
wrap it up. To me, the storylines are wrapping up, and then you have a next chapter on other stuff. So, to me, this is the U.S. agent story of when he was Captain America. Now we get U.S. agent next. So in my
But this is not the U.S. agent show. This is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yeah, but in my way, this is like wrapped up. This is like, you could have a U.S. agent show where he's being a Black Ops operator for Madame Hydra. It's like that's the next thing. Like that could be his own show, whether that's his show or it's going to be Secret Invasion.
Then have a U.S. agent show. I would love a U.S. agent
Yeah,
show.
but
I don't know why. This is a U.S.
problem.
agent show. This is not a Falcon and Winter Soldier show. They're not in this. Like, this is a U.S. agent show.
Is Civil War a Spider-Man movie? Yeah, even though it's the beginning of the Spider-Man saga in the Marvel Universe.
Civil War is nobody's movie. It's called Captain America, but Captain America's barely in that movie. It's like Iron Man's. It's just as Civil War is basically a third Avengers movie.
So, for me, I think two of the big pacing issues came after in the first episode, and again in this episode, where you had Falcon doing this mission thing to try and rescue or whatever at the beginning of the show, and then it's like, okay, well, we did that, but we got to figure some stuff out. You have downtime. And then you go off and you have his downtime and you're kind of like, okay, well, this is downtime, whatever. In this episode, it was another thing of all this stuff happens. And then it's like, oh yeah, well, we have to wait for the Flag Smashers to do something. So go do something. Right. It didn't feel like, even in a TV show, when you're waiting for something, there's normally another thing within the show that's there to keep you
and
engaged.
That's why I think it was a 2.5 hour long movie that basically got put into a 5 hour TV show. I feel like there's a lot of weird wasted time. It's crazy that they kind of waste a bunch of time on a bunch of plots and a bunch of sub stuff that could have been done much quicker, but also they have nowhere near enough time to deal with all the plots they're trying to deal with. Dude, Isaiah is a whole show by himself. Like, I don't get why that's even in here, because
oh my god, that was like the best part of the show. What do you mean?
It is, and they're barely touching on it. Make that the central focus of a Falcon show, not 2 5-minute lip service scenes over 6 episodes.
See, I would have preferred them actually showing us those scenes.
They're doing a disservice to that story. They're doing a disservice to that story. I think if U.S. Agent was not in this show, I think they would have had I think I like him a lot. I think him and Zemo should not have been in this show. I think they just overtake the show, and it's not about Falcon and Winter Soldier anymore. And when you only have 6 episodes, you have and you want to get this much plot done. They could have. It should have just been the 2 of them against the Flag Smashers, and that should have been the plot. There's too much going on in this show, and yet they still find ways to spin their wheels for way too long in some of these scenes. It's a baffling decision. But I have to just assume they're movie people. They're movie people, and they don't know how to make a television show. That's all. That has to be what it is. So my wonder, I really think Loki has the potential to run into these same problems, and that really worries me. My hope is that Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, or Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, again, Hawkeye could have the same problem, but I don't know. Those are exclusively Marvel MCU television. They're going to start there. My hope is they continue there, and that they're structured more like an actual television show. And
see, again, I don't look at these as television shows. To me, these are all just miniseries. So it's not the same to me.
But again, a miniseries is a complete story. This is the pro and con of the MCU is that you have to be on board 100%. That's amazing. But in a television show, you need a complete story within it. And I don't think we're going to get it in either of these shows.
I don't know. The way I look at it is there's a reason why
Someone else
they
talk. I'm
refer
done.
to this stuff as Marvel phases. Like, these aren't pitched as standalone TV shows when they talk about all this stuff as this is everything that's included in Marvel Phase 4.
What is the earliest you think White Vision gets picked up? It's not Shang-Chi. It's not Eternals, right? It's not Black Widow. It's not Spider-Man. So it's not this year, right?
I don't think White Vision is going to get picked up in the movies at all. I think it's going to be Secret Invasion.
Okay, but like that's years from now.
It's like
And that's a different show with different people.
That's like
So
next year.
why would it be in that?
Because I have a feeling. I don't know. I have a feeling about it.
Kevin,
Well,
save us all.
you didn't want a mild opinion, so hold on one second. I'm just going to bring in the spirit of a departed friend of ours. Hold on. Well, of course you hate it, Higgins, because it's Marvel. You see that red Marvel logo at the beginning, your eyes just go red with hate. You love everything the CW does. You got no problem with that pacing on Arrowverse or Flash Jr. or White Canary and the Bunny Brigade. That's all fine. But the knives come out for Falcon and the Winter Soldier just because it's Marvel. You hated WandaVision too. Same way. Wait, you didn't hate WandaVision? Well, a broken clock is still right twice a day. Where was I? Oh yeah, Batman is California.
Every reply I got on Twitter was that exact phrasing. Okay, so every single reply.
Christ lives on. Anymore.
Well, so I think I think a difficult thing is we're in uncharted territory with this phase, right? We've had 3 phases of just movies, of just things that came out of movies. We had a little bit in with Agent Carter and S.H.I.E.L.D., but not anything that was really, really significant. This is where Disney is trying to take things and make it a little more significant. It's the same thing that they're doing with Star Wars. With Star Wars, they're going full bore with crossing over between the books, the comics, everything. They're trying to work in that these stories are interconnected and so on and so forth. So with what they're trying to do here, I think it's something similar, but I think it's something that we're getting adjusted to, as well as the people creating this stuff are getting adjusted to.
So, Ryan, a couple of points to what you were saying before. First off, just as a matter of correction, Malcolm Spellman, who's the showrunner on this, broke in writing for that show Empire. So he's a TV hand first. Okay. Now, he hasn't been a showrunner before, but he got his start as a TV writer. I think that something you're kind of bumping up against is that now that we're 5/6 of the way through this, I think I would agree with you on one area that I think this is exactly the wrong length. It either needed to be shorter or longer. Shorter, you lose some of the things that you're complaining about. Longer, they have more time to let things breathe. And my assumption, and I don't know if this is maybe this has been revealed. I don't know. I haven't read any spoilers, so someone correct me if I'm right or wrong. My assumption is that this is leading to Sam being Captain America, is the mission of this whole show.
I would have thought that exact same thing when the show started, but now I have no idea. It doesn't seem like
the problem is, if that's the case, the show has a lot of heavy lifting to do, which is, and this is going to sound harsh, but I'll explain what I mean, is giving Sam a personality transplant. Because if you took him from the movie and I said, what'd you like about the Falcon in the movies? You go, oh, well, he's Cap's friend and he's cool, but you don't really know anything else about him. So they're, in essence, creating a character from scratch in this show. And you can't do that with them running all over the globe having action scenes. That's why you're getting all these scenes with the sister and the nephews and the boat and him and Carly, the one-on-one conversation scene. And you're bumping up against a show that's trying to do 2 things, which is having this Bourne Identity super espionage plot and also having to create a character, in essence. Not obviously he's been around, but I mean really build a character that you're going to go on to do other things with. And that's what I've kind of bumped up against it too. I'm not really so the pacing issues for me, again, if you told me this was 8 episodes, I think a lot of your issues would go away. I think because we are at the end game, TM Doctor Strange, but because we're right there, it feels weird to have your 5th episode be essentially a boat building episode and taking Zemo to prison when the action of that episode is in the first 10 minutes.
I agree.
But again, if there were 8 episodes, I don't think you'd be having these same complaints.
Yeah, I think, like I said, there is a lot going on, and that's great. I agree with Falcon. I think Falcon was, I mean, he's barely in the movie. He's in the movies, but he doesn't, he's not in huge, lengthy character creating scenes. Winter Soldier, you get his entire character arc in Winter Soldier, and then every other episode, every other appearance past that's building. We didn't have the Falcon episode of that, right? You get bits of it, but not to the degree that we got of Bucky. So I think this is trying to build up Falcon, but those scenes are not.
You don't find them engaging, and that's a legitimate criticism. You personally don't find them engaging.
Yeah.
I just think I know why they're there. My quibble is where they're being placed, not that they exist.
Yeah, it's just very. Yeah, it's not. I don't mind what they're trying to say. I don't mind what they're doing. It's obviously a very important topic, and people joked in the first episode, "Oh, Falcon getting a bank loan," but I mean, I don't think that's a bad story arc. I think I wish they did more with that. They just didn't. I know the boat stuff is there, and it's, again, if it was multiple episodes of character building through conversations, and they could maybe have flashbacks while they're doing this stuff. There's ways to make that work, and I just feel it does not work as presented in this show.
But can we agree that the Falcon and Isaiah scene in episode 5 was amazing?
It was great.
That was
again, make that a show. Make that a whole season, right? I feel, like I said, it is doing a disservice to that story arc that we're just, I mean, and maybe they will do a lot more with it, and I'm sure they will, but why shove that in here? If this show was supposed to be about Falcon learning what it's going to take to become a unique Captain America, they needed to cut.
I don't even think that's the story. I think this is Falcon dealing with becoming Captain America. It's not even him learning to become Captain America.
But I would think that's the same. He's going through the same elements there. But give me more of the bank loan stuff. Give me more of the boat. Give me more of Isaiah. And ditch Zemo. Ditch all the other plots. Ditch U.S. Agent.
Oh, yeah. Then what we have at that point? One of the Netflix shows.
but they could still do action in there. They could do that with Flag Smasher. No. They could still do that with Flag Smasher.
What's going on? You have more dialogue.
Hold on, but Toby, what did I say about all those Netflix shows? They should all be half the length. They were 6 episodes. They'd probably be perfect. Because I think they just were spinning their wheels for way too long on those Netflix shows. Because, again, I don't mind a couple episodes of deep conversations, but it can't be 13, It's got to be one or two, then a big action episode, 1 or 2 big action episode, and then you're out, right? You could have done Isaiah. You could have done the Flag Smashers tying back in with something from World War II. It's the two of them. Bucky's the connection because he was in both times. He's helping out both Captain Americas. The truth. What did he? Did they ever really give him a name? I don't remember if. The book is called The Truth. I don't remember what his name is in the book. If they give him any other sort of name, there's a great story there. There's also a great story about Falcon and Winter Soldier being buddies in a Lethal Weapon style buddy action comedy, and just 6 episodes of that. That's fantastic too, with no deeper story.
Well, the show's gone away from Winter Soldier. Remember, we had this really kind of dive into who Bucky was and dealing with it, and then by this episode, it's like
it's gone.
And he's well, you're just doing, and it's like, huh?
they're trying to put way too much. They have multiple story arcs that just don't fit in this type of thing. If this was a 2-hour movie, you'd lose all the character building and it'd be a fun action movie. If it was 13 episodes or 2 different shows, yeah, you'd have all this additional plot lines that you could run through. I'm not against 13 episodes. I'm not against 22 episodes. As long as you have stories to tell, that's great. 6 was either too short, like Kevin said, either too short or too long. It just wasn't the right length of the story they were trying to tell. So I think in this case, it was too short.
Wanda was needed more.
But Wanda was 8. Wanda was 8, right?
But it needed
eight or 9? No, 9.
Or, yeah, maybe it was 9.
9, but they were short, right? I think WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier were roughly the same time. They were short episodes. They were 20 plus into 30 minutes. Falcon's
they increased
40
in time
plus.
as they went.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a time count on them, but I think they're fairly similar in length. Within maybe an hour or 45 minutes.
WandaVision was following the sitcom time frame, at least in the beginning. Yeah.
Sure.
And then as it got to the more modern ones that ran longer, they were longer episodes.
So even different episodes, but again, you have the same time constraint that I think they're trying to push too much stuff into the show. Now, Hawkeye feels a little bit smaller. That could be good. But I thought the same about this. So I don't know.
You know what happens? That's where White Vision shows up to get some revenge on Hawkeye.
Okay, that'd be cool. I don't know what they're going to do. There's good stuff in here. There's stuff I like. There's characters I like. There's scenes I like. It's just the overall piece constructed together it just doesn't work.
Well, I think if you look at
I'm really disappointed because this was by far. I think I thought WandaVision looked cool, but I didn't really know what was going on. This I thought by far was going to be my favorite of the shows. Just I thought this was going to be a super fun buddy action comedy, and that's not at all what it is. So I don't know what the fuck. That's what I took out of the trailers, and it's something completely different. So I don't know. I don't hate it. I have just major problems with the structure of it.
I'm really curious to hear your take, same bat channel, next week after the finale.
Yeah, Toby's not, but I am.
Giving up on Ryan Higgins.
And I'm just waiting for somebody to re-edit the entire show into a more like traditional TV show format. And then, 3 years down the road, Ryan watching that version of it, and
a Ryan cut, release the Ryan cut. Well, I think the problem with both shows is it can't be done because you have to add more stuff, right? I think that's the problem. I think you just are lacking. I mean, we'll see how the finale goes, but yeah, maybe you could just edit out everything else except for the Flag Smasher stuff, and then there's just a cool action movie in there, and that's the end of it. You just cut everything else out.
Well, like when Baron Zemo was escaping the jail, right? Like that scene, that whole segment was amazing.
That was great. Right? Mm-hmm. I love Baron Zemo. He's my favorite part of the show, hands down. No question.
And then in that show, even in that, it's like the pacing slows down again, and then it kind of goes back. It's this weird
you know what? Well, the show became something very different when Zemo came in, and maybe just because I liked him so much. Like I said, it didn't seem to bother me so much in those episodes. I still wasn't quite following the plot, but I figured they'd get to it eventually. But now looking back at it, they're like, sure, Madripoor, sure, whatever, we'll just throw it in here. Like, why? Is there a point? I mean, they could have been anything. It could have been nothing. They could have skipped it entirely. I feel like they had a lot of set pieces and a lot of stuff to do, and they just didn't give any. Again, Madripoor could be not a season. That could be an entire show. And yeah, of course, you're just setting some stuff up, but like, I don't know. It feels like too much, and it's just not clicking with me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm done. I said my piece. I said my piece.
The guy that loved Lost. Why is there smoke monster? I don't know. Keep watching. Why
so
all this shit?
Well,
why
so
all this weird stuff that's unexplained and nothing makes sense. I'm going to keep watching.
There's a difference. So a lot of people hate the mystery box, J.J. Abrams Lost stuff, right? I love it. So weekly TV show.
No, you Twin Peaks guy, you.
Twin Peaks, right? I love this stuff. Lost had its problems. Do not get me wrong; it has its major problems.
How was that last episode?
I love the last episode. I loved the last episode. I mean, people hate it. I loved it.
Hey Ryan, are you one of the guys that love the Angel ending?
I never saw Angel. Oh, but I totally I have not seen it, but I know what it is, and I think that's a perfectly fine way to end a show. Yeah, I know people hate it.
And this is the thing: is you hate the Game of Thrones last season.
Me?
Yeah.
No,
you didn't you liked all that.
I thought it was extremely rushed, but I was pumped at the end of Game of Thrones. I'm not a hater. I like Game of Thrones a lot. I think it should have been 3 seasons. They should not have wrapped it up. They had so much more to still do. The pacing was not great, but one mediocre. It ended exactly how I thought it was going to end. One mediocre season that's kind of rushed does not get rid of the other 7 seasons, which are some of the best television that's ever been made. Like I don't turn on a dime like that on stuff. Game of Thrones easily is there with Lost as like one of the greatest television viewing experiences of my entire life. They're groundbreaking television shows. They've done so. People have specific problems with them, and they are not perfect shows in any regard. But they have changed the industry. I think so Toby, what you're talking about with Lost, that's fine because they are mysteries to talk about, not confusion in what's a straightforward show. With WandaVision, it's the same idea. The mystery and the confusion in those first 3 episodes to me was fascinating. To the average viewer, was annoying, and that's where I'm different. I like that. That's cool because I could just like spitball these crazy ideas because we don't know what the answer is yet, and maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't. When the question is, why is the villain doing what the villain is doing? That is a storytelling and pacing problem, not an intentional question posed by the show and by the writers and by the creators. That's the difference. Like, you'll never know what the hell's going on in Twin Peaks because David Lynch will never say because it doesn't matter. He's doing what he's doing. People theorize all this crazy crap, but what's really going on is pretty much not important, right? Lost was a similar thing. Why was this stuff the way it was? Well, it doesn't really matter, right? It was weird questions to be weird questions. But when I'm like, not who's the power broker, but why do I care who's the power broker? They're nobody. It's meaningless. What does it matter? That is not a question I care to know the answer to follow up on. That's the difference. Does that make sense?
I want to strangle you sometimes.
And on that note, we are done with another episode of the Comic Conspiracy Podcast. Send all your hate mail to at Best Basement on Twitter.
Fuck you, dude. I ain't taking your shit.
Can't wait for next week's episode.
Dude, we should live stream it. We should live stream your reaction to it.
I will say what I say all the time about all this stuff. As a general rule, I really, really like the MCU and everything they do. I have specific problems with some stuff, but man, like an 8 out of 10 is really good. Things aren't always 10 out of 10, guys. It's okay to think something's not the best, and it's okay to like something that might not be perfect. That's okay. You can like a 7. You can like a 6. You can hate a 9 for very specific reasons. It's okay. It's okay, guys.
You can also disagree with a guy that's obviously got wrong opinions.
You don't have to get so mad.
Putting it out there.
Oh,
wait, hold on. What does Leanne think of this show?
Oh, it's the same shit. They're the same person.
No, they are
Whenever
not.
you say, Leanne just walked off. So whenever you say that, Toby, she gets so mad
Oh,
because
brilliant.
while there are some shows and TV experiences and movies that we have very similar opinions on, and this I think is one of them. The vast majority of stuff we have incredibly different opinions on. Okay, if she never had to see another superhero movie again, she'd be perfectly happy.
Well, she doesn't have to.
I talk constantly about how I've got this. I've got all the Underworld movies that I want to marathon the whole thing, and she's like, "I hate you. What is wrong with you? Why am I in a relationship with you?"
What?
And then she watches
Wait.
19
Go back.
seasons
Underworld.
of.
You want to watch the Underworld shows?
I do want to watch Underworld. I like Underworld. And then she watches 19 seasons of Shameless, and I'm like, this is the fucking worst television show that has ever been made. Why do you watch this fucking garbage? I hate Shameless. I hate it. It's horrible. Yeah, it's over, right? Yeah, thank God. I hate that show. It's just like, I really dislike that show.
Are we still recording?
Yes, we
We're
are.
still
I
recording.
think you said on that note, that's been another episode.
Oh, no, I'll tell you why I keep.
But
saying
Leanne,
that.
as a general rule, as far as I know, she is pretty cold on Falcon Winter Soldier. But she's going to watch it. She watched every episode, so go ahead. What's up?
Oh no, I was saying, look. Every time I turn around, I see you posting something on Facebook. I'm like, interesting. I wonder where that opinion came from.
What?
And I see Leanne posting the same shit. I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
We will often have similar opinions on some stuff, but trust me, often have extremely different opinions on other stuff.
Yeah, sure. I'll believe it when the trailer drops.
On that note, Leanne wants me to watch Atlanta. I saw like an episode or two over her shoulder.
That's pretty good stuff. I know
Yeah.
Kevin recommended it to me like years ago, and I think I watched it on the plane. I really enjoyed it. I never finished the show, though.
I've heard it's really good.
It's not a show that I think Ryan will ever watch.
I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I remember she was watching American Horror Story, and we watched the first season, and I'm like, I'm out. This is not for me. I just can't do it. And she's like, oh, American Horror Story is really good. No, it's the second season and third season. She's like, I'm still watching it, but it's not as good. And then she watched the fifth season and sixth season. She's like, I'm still watching this, but this is bad. And she watched the seventh season and eighth season. She's like, I'm still watching this, but this is the worst show I have ever seen. I hate it. Why am I watching this? And then she finally stopped watching it.
Yeah, it's funny because
Riverdale, I've seen the first season and I have like 70 episodes of my TiVo. Okay, look, it is trash. Okay, Riverdale is trash, but I admit it's trash and I'm okay with it. And I'm also nowhere near current. So
the only thing you've given me is that you guys are agreeing on shows that you guys are not watching. So if you guys were to watch them, I stand by my thing. You guys have the same opinions.
If we both watch a show, we generally have the same opinion.
See?
Yes, there are. I think the only show we've watched recently where, there's been a couple. So she dropped off Walking Dead. So I'm still watching Walking Dead, and I still like it. I'm not current, but I still liked it. You gave up on Ozarks.
What?
So
what?
Yeah, so she gave up on Ozark. She thought
Ozark?
She did not
What
like
is
it.
wrong with her?
It's literally the darkest show I've ever watched in my entire life.
It's amazing.
Like, I don't mean dark as in violent or depressing. Literally dark. You cannot see people on the show because the show is filmed so dark.
Don't you have your fancy HDR 4K television?
Yes, it's all black except for the one little face in the background talking during the scene. I literally watched the show Dark on Netflix, and the show Dark is not as dark as Ozark. So I liked Ozark a lot. So it's on my list to go watch on my own. So So that's the problem. When we don't watch stuff together, I fall way behind on it because I never have time. So yeah, when we watch shows together, we generally will have roughly the same opinion because otherwise, if we don't like it, the other one isn't watching it. So yeah, that's why when we have the same opinion, it's because of stuff like that. And we do, obviously, there's tons of stuff where we are married. We do like each other, so, at least a little bit. We did like each other at one point, so we clearly have something. So we
there's also that fear
chuckling in the background,
becoming the same person over time.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have similar opinions on some stuff,
And
but
if you
trust me,
more than anybody else.
Trust me, we do not have the same opinions on everything.
It's been so long since we've exited a movie, and it's all right. What does Leanne think? What does Ryan think? Those are the good ones.
Oh, if it's a superhero movie, I generally will like it, and she's like, "Yeah, it's fine." All right, thank you to all our Patreon backers: Joe Duff, Jesse Peterson at the Comic Book Matters Podcast, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, Andrew Nelson Mendez at Recovery of an Anime Junkie Podcast, and Craig Anderson at Clear Path Coaches. Thank you all very much for your support of the Comic Conspiracy Podcast. And I fully understand when you pull your support after listening to this episode. You hate my opinion on Falcon and Winter Soldier. Please check out comicspiracypodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify for all our previous episodes, and head over to patreon.com/comicconspiracy to kick us $1 or $2 if you would like. You can go to comicsconspiracy.biz and purchase comic books from us. We have all sorts of books on there for you to buy. We've been busy. We've been shipping a lot of people picking up stuff.
It never ends.
Yeah, it's literally never going to end.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Job security, baby. But, whew.
If you head over to conspiratedbrock.com, that's Brock's blog, video pull list, unboxing videos, and more. You can check out his stuff there. Charlie has the Doctor Who podcast at Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension. And you can check out the weekly series of interviews called Between the Panels that Kevin Sharp does over at fanbasepress.com. Please visit leannehill.com for all of my wife Leanne's artwork. And you can find her Etsy store at etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt. If you were on Twitter, you can follow all of us and harass us. Ryan Higgins, Ryan, that's myself. Brock is Best Basement, BES Basement. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. And the store is Comics Con Store. No Geek Box this week. I know Ryan Scott has been busy with work, so unfortunately we did not record this week. But we'll be back next week to talk about video games and other garbage. And please go visit our friends over at
Fortnite.
I highly doubt that. You can hear all about Adam's VTuber. Is that what they're called? VTubers, the virtual YouTuber people. VTubers, yeah. All his obsession with VTubers and Final Fantasy 14 patch and. No,
I'm saying we're going to have a Batman Fortnite update as we go.
Oh, us? Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I got nothing to say about it. I'm done. And also check out Manga Machinations. Our good friends do a podcast about manga. Thank you all very much. Hope you enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier. We'll definitely be back next week to talk about the finale and lots more, I am sure. See you next week.